Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Acumen Livecast. This is your host, Dami Siyanbola, and or Dami Siyanbola, and your co-host, Andy Sarfo. Good evening.
Good evening to everybody, wherever you are, man. Worldwide. Worldwide.
How you doing, bro?
I've been good, man. You know, it's man. Family first. Well, God first, family second. And yeah, man, work, you know. But no, aside from that, everything is good. Can't complain.
Good.
And you, how's things been for you, bro? Family, birthday, boy.
Birthday's cool, man. It's gone. It's been and gone, but we thank God for another year. So yeah. So let's get into it. Today we have one of our members actually. So she's part of the team. She's part of the Acumen 360 team, and she goes by the name of Dr Eneh Jones. Good evening, Doctor.
Evening, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, wow, you're part of the team.
Dami, I must use my inside voice today. Oh, thanks for having me. So today,
Oh my gosh.
this shall be my.
Take the mic.
No, not at all. I'm just trying to locate my inner voice for today because, yes, me too. I was a doctor in my former life. Sorry, carry on. But nice to have you on, though. Nice to have you on.
Oh, thanks, Andy.
How are you doing today, Doc?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Been enjoying the nice weather.
Have you been on duty to go to work, or have you been enjoying holiday?
No, not holiday. Thankfully, I've been able to work from home, so that's what I've been doing, really. Yeah, the specialty I'm in now allows me to work from home.
Fantastic. So, Doc, as you know, we have guests, and we just usually interview the guests and ask some questions, trying to just get out of our guests, you know, what their journey, find out about their journey, what they've gone through, what they've learned along the way, and you know, whatever information that you know our guests can give to our target audience. But we are in the midst of what's an interesting time at the moment for you know, for Black people, for people of our color, and I think, you know, we can use this channel today to speak about that, to talk to that, and see, you know, what we think, what we can give to the next generation who are coming behind us, who may not have faced some of these things that they're seeing, and just generally how we think we can navigate this going forward. But before that, can we get a bit of your backstory? You know, who are you? What do you do? Of course, we know you're a doctor, but, you know, just give us a bit about yourself so that we can we know who we're talking to.
Okay. Well, my name's Eneh Jones. I am a doctor, as Dami said, and I started working as a doctor in 2012. Since then, I've done 2 specialties. So started off with general medicine and general surgery. That was exciting. And then I took a year off to do some research and also do some sort of, mission work. And I basically do volunteering, and I did that in Ghana, actually.
Come on.
Hey. And then I did some research before specializing in ophthalmology, which is eye surgery. After that, I did that for 2 years, but then I decided that, you know, I wanted a bit of a better work-life balance. So I decided to change specialties, and I'm not currently working for the NHS. I'm working for a private company now, and I'm specializing in occupational medicine. So that is my professional side, I guess. In general, I am one of 4 kids to my mum and my dad. My sisters and my brother actually live in the same countries, all of us here. And yeah, like, I enjoy spending time with my family and my friends. I like to have fun, a bit of reading, some arts and crafts, making jewelry. Yeah, loads of random things, to be honest. But yeah, I feel like life is there to be enjoyed. and obviously you have to work hard, but you have to get the balance right. So that's what I live by.
Cool.
That's a background. So would you just quickly before we get into the meat of today, would you say that being an academic is something that was encouraged in your household, or do you have like creatives and you're the random academic in your house?
Yeah, actually the latter's more accurate. So my dad has his own business, but it's for interior decorating and furniture making, and basically I feel like that's quite creative because he designs the furniture, and it's quite interesting to see like the design come to life. My mum, she was more of the academic one, so she studied sociology in uni. My sisters are in fashion, well, one of my sisters is in fashion buying and my brother is in fashion buying as well, so that's the creative side. And my other sister, she enjoys dance, so she does dance, and she's quite actually not quite, she's very good at like writing and poetry, and I'm actually going to read one of her pieces tonight, so nice. I'm really excited about that. It's in relation to everything that's going on nice. Right now, so I'm really excited to read one of her pieces. So yeah, I guess like it's a bit of a mix, but I would say maybe most of the family's on the creative side. I do have my creative side as well, so I do styling, personal styling and personal shopping on the side as my side hustle, which I really enjoy. So I enjoy like spending that quality time with people, just seeing how their confidence kind of grows and encouraging them to just be themselves, but the best version of themselves. So yeah.
Well, a doctor and a life changer in fashion.
Hey. But actually, most importantly, before I go on, obviously, I'm a Christian. Obviously, this is not like a religious channel. However, I'm a Christian, and that dictates like everything that happens in my life, really. So that's a very important part of myself, and actually, that's where I get my identity from God. So that's the main thing, and everything else comes out from there.
So. Wow. So we've had a couple of people joining on Instagram, on the Insta Live, and Miss Lexia says, multi-talented queen. We love to see it. Heart emoji. That's you, Doc.
Oh, thanks, sis. You're making me blush here.
That's quite interesting. I mean, you used a very interesting word, which is identity. And you find your identity in Christ or in God, or as part of your religion. That's where you've learned to find your identity, and everything you are, comes from your religion or from your faith. I don't know if I should segue into it, or Dami, did you yeah. Right now we're dealing with identity for Black people. Internationally, and I'm quite intrigued to find out what your views are, because I mean we're living in the time where something has happened in America, and you have to say something if you're Black, and if you don't, you're losing your Black membership. Like so to speak to you, who is as accomplished as you are in your field and as a person. What are your views? Where do you think the identity of the Black person is at the moment? Jeez, that's deep. Like
that's really deep. I'm like, that's like a dissertation. Oh, I don't know if we can unpack that in under an hour. I feel like obviously, if I'm thinking about it from a positive standpoint, first of all, I feel like as a group of people, we've endured so much over time. Like this has been going on for so many years. And I feel like one word that always comes to mind when I think about the situation right now is that we're resilient and we're really strong. Although like everything happening right now is really painful, and it's been such an emotional week for me, actually. I think like I've cried quite a few times just like watching the videos, hearing the stories, and just seeing what's been going on out there. But on a whole, I believe that we're so strong and we're so resilient. And it does make me wonder sometimes, like, if it was another population group, like, what would have happened to them over time? You know, if they experienced the same level of sort of, it's going to sound really harsh, but persecution, really. Like,
yeah,
you know,
so
yeah,
call,
like if
call
they,
it what it is, man. Call it what
yeah,
it
like
is.
if they experience the same sort of persecution that we've experienced, like, you know, would how far along would they have gotten? And you see a lot of us in just different environments and different spheres of influence, like, you know, not only myself in medicine, but, you know, in the arts, in media, in politics. And it's like we're shut down, but then we always stand back up. Like, we never just stay down. We always fight to be heard. We always fight to be known, and we always fight for what is right, however difficult that is. So those two words are what comes to mind when I think about, like, black people as a people. We're strong and we are resilient, and we don't stay down. Though we're beaten, we don't stay down, and we're always going to be coming back up. So that's
Dami,
like my overview.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I was so at work today. I work in education, and you know, as a school, the, you know, SLT senior leadership team felt that they needed a response of some sort. So we had a discussion, and in one of the discussions, you know, we were asked to do something. It said, if you were to describe your emotions and your feeling and how you felt within the last week, 2 weeks, or whatever, in a few words, or like words, what would they, you know, what would it be? So, Dami, what word would you describe your feelings with regards to? Obviously, we've heard resilience, we've heard strong, which is very positive, and I really love that. What's your words to describe how you feeling, or how you've been feeling within the last couple of days or week, whatever?
I think if I remove everybody's reactions, so, you know, because there's been so much on social media, there's been so much kind of that we've seen, I think the words that really describe how I felt was just sadness. Sadness that we're in 2020 and we're still having to endure this level of pain, still having to endure this level of persecution, as Doc said, and still having to almost justify why we're here, in a sense. And it's sad. It's sad. So I think just sadness for me, and really, and I guess we'll probably segue into this in a bit, but it's more, how do we really move on from here? Because once the riots die down, once the hashtags die down, what next? Is it going to be another 200 years of the same persecution? Is it going to be more of the same? You know, what's going to happen? And I think that's why I'm keen to have this conversation, because we need to have these progressive conversations, but not just having these conversations. What are we actually going to do, you know, beyond the hashtags and the riots and stuff like that?
Sadness is indeed mine was probably more frustration. I think sadness is in there, but more frustration, because I love history. I love true Black history, which is African history. I love all that. And the reason why I asked about identity is because I feel through history, those that have been in power have done, you know, the utmost best to try and delete or erase the value, or have tried to erase the identity of Black people. So the things that have been achieved through time, the things we've brought to the table, the things that we've invented, the things that we have done through history that should really give us some kudos or kind of, you know, uplift us or make us feel proud of who we are, have kind of been destroyed. So we go to, you know, ancient, even Egypt now, right? And you see the sphinxes and the noses being smashed, and you see, you know, the first library ever, you know, in world history ever recorded, you know, was in Ethiopia, that being burnt down by those that were in power then. I think that a lot has gone into destroying and erasing and deleting the identity of Black people. So much so that the world also can't see what our values are or what we bring to the table. So we're clearly not valuable as far as the world is concerned. So that's why these things are allowed to happen. And I'm a very positive person, but when I think about these things, and it's very difficult to think that things are actually going to change. It's very difficult. I find it very difficult. Maybe Doc and Dami, you guys can help me to kind of find my way back to positivity. But through what I've read and, you know, researched and whatever, I find it very, very difficult to believe that at some point we're going to be seen as equals. Just, it's only a couple of years ago that we won civil rights, well, in America, the rights for other races to be civil with Black people, like to be civil, like so before that, what were they being to Black people? Are you understand what I'm saying? It was only just the other day that civil rights were passed for Black people in America to be considered civil. And for me, it's like, how do we move from there to a place where there's actually equality, which is ultimately what the dream is? I thought I'd just throw a hammer in the works, just so that it wasn't.
Yeah, a couple of shout outs before you continue. So KRG, yes, Kofi. It says preach 23, that's with a 223. It says preach. Hey guys, so thanks for connecting. Such a deeply rooted issue. Ice 100 says, 23 says, but that was a win. We have to stay positive. And I guess that's in relation to the civil rights movement that you were talking about, Andy. Dr. Deborah Official says 100% need to be positive. So I guess, Doc, maybe you can answer Andy's question in regards to, what next?
Like, I've had so many discussions with various friendship groups over the last couple of weeks about, like, what can we actually do as a people to change the narrative. And although it does seem, I guess, like, my world would be overwhelmed, like, it seems overwhelming, because when you think about the depth of, like, how deep this, like, how far this persecution goes for our culture and our people, like, it is overwhelming, because we can't just imagine in you know, at work, you know, on a day-to-day basis, like, just taking public transport, going to school, taking your kids to school, what the kids experience in school. Like, there's so many facets that are involved with this problem, actually. And before I go on to talk about, you know, like, how we can go forward, I would like to read a poem that one of my sisters wrote. So her name is Joy Jones, and it's cutting, because it speaks so much truth about what we experience as a people. So I'm just going to get that up. Just bear with me a second. All right.
Special shout out to Joy.
Sorry?
That's a special shout out to Joy.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a piece that it's in the form of a prayer, basically. And it says, I pray that my children will never have to dream they woke up white, so the world treats them right. That my daughter can express herself without being labeled a rude, aggressive, or angry Black woman. That my son will never have his white peers ask if they can call him the N-word as a nickname. That my kids won't come home crying because another child said kids with your skin color can't join in, that black boys will not be suspended from school for a skin fade, that black boys will not be unduly stopped and searched, that black boys wouldn't be stopped because they're in a nice car, that black girls will not be sent home because of their hair, that black girls never have to hear, "You're pretty for a black girl," that a black man's appeal would go beyond his ability to produce cute caramel kids, that a black man in a hoodie is not seen as a criminal. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. That a black man's skin will not make him a target, that black women's features will not be deemed unattractive until cosmetically replicated women, that black women will not always be expected to be strong and take the pain, that television will stop creating shows and worlds where skinned black women don't exist, that our natural hair wouldn't be seen as wild or untamed, that the media will stop misrepresenting us, that we won't have to be 2 times more qualified to get the same position as our white counterparts, that I will never again hear a white person say the N-word because it's in the lyrics of a song, that people stop adding the color of a black person's skin to a story when it is irrelevant, that people who don't understand things about us will ask questions instead of making ignorant assumptions, that people won't pet my hair, that when I walk into a room, it won't just be me, that I will never hear, "Are you sure? Maybe they didn't mean it like that," again, that white people will not be apathetic to our struggles, that being black will also be right, that God will deliver the black people of America from evil, that God will deliver us all from evil, that one day I won't have to pray for these things, that one day they will just be. I pray that we will have justice, #justice for George Floyd. Oh, that was hard to read out.
Got a few,
Yeah.
you got a few comments there. Nilius _I put that emoji. If Stuff Forever said she put a prayer and a hand clap emoji. 23 put a prayer. Viv May official said this. Ice 100 hearts. Jokes Yoki prayer and hands up. YV Ivy truth. Hams Ox so Mish Lexis so powerful. Viv May official no lies detected. And amen. Kofi came back with powerful. So yeah, I know what I'm gonna do with this once we come off air. I'm gonna I'll put some music to it and yeah, cut it up nicely so we can share that.
Yeah,
well.
man. Yeah.
So I guess, Doc, what's next as a people?
Because we can't just pray, right? We can't.
Yeah.
Or can we pray?
Yeah, we have to take action. And actually, sorry, go on.
And just to add a bit of flesh or whatever to the question, of what is next. Should what happens next have anything to do with us? Do we feel we've already done enough? Or are we still expected to be peaceful and expected to, so that's me adding an extra leg or an extra arm to the question. Over to you, Doc.
It has to involve us. I don't think there's another way. Like, we can't expect things to change without being brave and making moves and stepping out of our comfort zones. Like today, it was today, the protest in Trafalgar Square. Yeah, is it Piper? Oh, sorry. Yeah, the protest with John Vega. Like, his speech was so powerful, and he was crying, and you could literally feel the pain. Like, you could feel the frustration, you could feel the anger. And he said, I might not have a career after this, and that's the reality of it. But for us to actually effect change in our environments, we have to step out our comfort zone. We have to do things that we normally wouldn't do or wouldn't want to do. I feel like that involves different things. Like it involves education, it involves starting from, you know, from the young, because I feel like things in like schools, like history, Black history is not necessarily taught in the UK. You know, like if we don't affect change from the younger generation that are growing up, we're going to still see the same patterns. We have to have difficult conversations with people that are not of our race. And although it might not be very nice to probably hear what they have to say, some of them don't know, some of them are ignorant, some of them do know and are scared to speak up about it because they want to be politically correct. Some of them don't care, sadly. However, I feel that if we don't have these difficult conversations, then how are we going to expect people to change? You know, I read that says you teach people how to treat you by what you stop, by what you allow, and what you reinforce. So if we allow people to continue as they are, then we're teaching them that it's okay to treat us this way. If we reinforce positive things, you know, getting education in the school systems, and even just adults like reading what Black culture or what being a Black person is like, if we reinforce those things, hopefully over time, I don't think this is going to change immediately. Like the depth of this problem is so entrenched in society, so entrenched in psychology, so entrenched in behavior that before we actually see significant change, is going to take time, and is going to take persistence, is going to take like repeating things that we don't necessarily want to do. I've been encouraged personally myself because friends in my group, like in various groups, have been taking actions. Example, one of my friends, she is not Black, actually, she's Asian, but she's in a position she's in a managerial role for Facebook, actually. And, you know, she was actually able to have a conversation with a Black person and ask them, how are you feeling? Like, how are you feeling in this, you know, with everything going on? Is there anything that we can do as a team to change things? Another friend, she is Jamaican, you know, she wrote to her CEO of her company that you've not spoken out about this. And with that, she's now being included in the disability and diversity rights team at work. So we can make change, and it's not necessarily easy. Like someone else would have said, oh, you shouldn't email the CEO about this problem. Why are you emailing the CEO? You're at risk of losing your job. But we have to do these things. We have to have these conversations. We have to step out our comfort zone. Another friend started having conversations with people in church, and the head of churches and pastors that may not necessarily be Black, but you know, that they need to speak up about this. They need to educate the people around them about this. So I feel like it's going to take a while, but to hit each like level. So from adults to children, we have to hit them with education. We have to speak up against things that we don't necessarily want to speak up about for fear of what's going to happen to us. And we have to hope, because as much as it doesn't seem hopeful at the moment, we have to hope that us doing these things and us putting in the work now, eventually, hopefully the generations after us will benefit from it as well. It's not necessarily an easy thing to do, but I believe that, yeah, with prayer, but also with action and consistency, we can definitely make things happen.
So Viv May Official says, keep the momentum. Everybody can see my Zoom is a free Zoom. Keep the momentum. 23 says, no, we can do more. Viv May says, pray and take action. Support Black businesses. Have the awkward conversations. Do clap, not tire. Support Black businesses. Support each other. So people have been doing the work for time. We have to support them now. There is power in numbers. It's tiring but important. That's from Viv May Official. Dr. Deborah Official says, so back into our own for sure. YB Ivy says it's about strategy. Aish 100 says, definitely need to be active in this still. Viv says, so get some rest, then the next morning we go again. If the Forever says, we've all come together as one community, black and white people. Oh, sorry, we have to all come together as one community, black and white people, all together stand up against the injustice. 23 says, self-love. Nelia says, pragmatic steps and strategy. Ditch the crabs in a bucket mentality. That's a very powerful one from the May official. That's very powerful. And I don't know if we'll get time to dig into that, but that's so apt. Says, I would say accurate history. There were Black Romans, Black Victorians, Black poets, and Black inventors. Oh, there's loads. Wow. We'll probably be here for another 10 minutes if I read everything. But you can see there's loads of people saying, these are the things we can do. I think this is from what you've said, Doc, from all the comments that I'm seeing here, there's no one silver bullet. There's no one silver fix-it-all bullet. It's going to be all sorts of actions, all sorts of different things that we have to do in order to change this narrative. And but yeah, as people say, we've got to continue pushing on. So Andy, I think you were going to say something. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say there's also some people. Yeah, by the way, amazing response, Doc. Really, really, really amazing response. There's also some people that are like, well, we live in the UK. Police ain't shooting anyone in public on video. Why are we getting all, you know what I mean? So there's some people in the UK. I'm not going to expose anybody. I had a conversation with somebody today, a white woman who said, well, it's not like the police are shooting black people in the UK. So why are we making such a song and a dance about it? So again, I'm going to throw it out to us who, we're in the UK, we have a no gun culture or whatever. The police don't carry, guns. So we're not about to be shot anytime soon. Should we be kind of disturbing the quote unquote peace we have in the UK and confusing our quote unquote peace here with the chaos that's going on in America? I'm not sure if you understand the question.
Yeah, and I think that's, if you had a conversation with a Caucasian lady, and that's a problem. It's not her reality. It's not her reality. So I have, and why I say that is that I have friends who, and I've heard this so many times. Because you're driving a fancy car, you get stopped. As a black person, you get stopped.
That's happened to my brother
numerous times. Why?
Yeah.
Where you going? You've got insurance. You've got everything you need. There's no need for them to stop you. Oh, and then you get, at the end of it, it's mistaken identity. You get stopped and searched. These are not the reality for the everyday average Caucasian person. This is the reality for an average black successful male who is driving. I mean, go on Mr. B Self-Made's Instagram and check his story. He's got so many luxurious cars, for example, and the amount of times in the stories, he gets stopped and searched by the police. Why? Because he can't be young, he can't be black, and he can't be driving these luxurious cars that, are only meant for maybe a certain type of people. So I think the answer to that question is, it's not her reality. We don't have peace here. So, that's that's my view.
That's interesting. I mean, I said to her that across the pod, America, you look at characteristics, they're very kind of gun ho, like, no pun intended. They're very much like, hee-haw, come on, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, police are gonna take a gun and shoot, and they're gonna, trouble you. Whereas in the UK, we're seen as quite reserved as a people. So the way they come across with their persecution is by the way of bullying. So they'll bully you. They'll try and find interesting way to bully you, right? And I said, me being me, who is an upstanding member of society, who has all their paperwork in order. You know, I'm married for love, not for passport. I've got my stay. I'm good. The insurance on point. Everything. I own my car, my house, whatever. When I'm driving and I see a police car, subconsciously I kind of prim and proper myself, even though I was prim and proper in the first place. So I'm not doing one hand bad man driver or whatever. I'm just driving, but as soon as I see it, like, I acknowledge that they are around the corner from me. That can't be normal. That cannot be normal. Like, I said to my colleague who was also on the call, who is a black guy. He said, "Oh, me too," you know. And I said, "But no one's ever told me to be afraid of the police." So what are we doing in this society or in this community that is making young black men who are not necessarily, living a criminal life, to be afraid or to be conscious of the police? You know, so it just goes to confirm what you're saying, that there's no peace. There's a lot of subliminal messages and that's been done to kind of, bully black people. And you're right, we do need to stand up and be counted. Anyway.
Yeah, you are. Just to add to that, like, I think in the UK, racism is just not so overt. It is not like in your face as much as it is in the US. Like you said, we have these thought processes whereby we see the police, we're already thinking about a way to protect ourselves. We're already trying to make sure that we're not, being seen in a certain light. And this is not only regards to driving, like this happens across the board. At work, when you get in, for me, especially as a black doctor, I had to talk in a certain way. And if I stated that I wanted something done, which you do as a doctor, you request something to be done from your team or the nurses or, someone else working with you, then they're like, "Oh, you're being rude, you're being aggressive." I actually had a case where in my first year of medicine, I was disciplined, unquote, because I refused to do a dangerous task that I hadn't been trained to do. And I'd only been 4 months in as a doctor, and a white male Caucasian had asked me to do something. And I said, "You know what, I don't want to do this because I'm not trained in it. I will do it if you're there supervising me and you're basically showing me the steps." And because I said no, they said, "I don't want to work. I'm not hardworking. I don't want to be a team player. I don't want to, I'm shirking my responsibility." And when you think about that, you're like, no, I'm actually trying to not kill a patient here. Because if I went in, I just did whatever I wanted, that patient will suffer. I'm actually fulfilling my duty as a doctor. But because before they see that you're a doctor, they see that you're black. Even I've had patients that basically said, "I don't want you to treat me. Are you a doctor? Are you sure you're a doctor?" Wow. And I'm like, well, less patient for me to see. But
so you were saying that someone refused for you to treat them, Doc?
Yeah. So like, I had a patient that said to me, "Well, I don't want to be seen." And like, when I was doing eye surgery, patients didn't want me to do their operation because they just didn't trust. They found it difficult to believe that I could actually do their operation, or I could actually be a doctor. Or a lot of them go, "Oh, well, you speak very good English. Like, your English is very good." And to them, it's a compliment, but it's a microaggression. So, but they don't understand that. I don't know if all of them do, but that's the thing. Like, we already experience a difference in society every day. One of my sisters, she was on the tube and a white lady basically shoved her, like, "Why are you in my way?" sort of thing. And she told her, "Excuse me, can you not do that to me, please? Like, that is not acceptable." And the lady didn't say sorry. And she basically shoved her, she pushed her on the tube. So that was an actual thing. And there are other people, you know, there were white people on the tube. She said, "Excuse me," to them. But when it got to my sister, she pushed her. And nobody said anything to the lady to correct her or to say, "Oh, this is not on." Like, nothing was done. So I feel like even though it's not so obvious in the sense that, you know, they're shooting at us, they are attacking us in that sense every day, whether it's by bullying or, you know, just institutional racism. They're different things that we don't necessarily is as overt in real life. However, we feel the difference. You can sense it. Like, you can tell that, oh, something's not right here. I'm not being treated the same as everyone else. And it is very sad. Like, is a deep sadness. Like, when that happened to me in my first year of medicine, I remember, I cried to a friend. She was Asian, so she understood it to some extent. And, you know, she was just like, look, I know it's not something that we can accept or that we should accept, but it's sad because we do accept it, you know, like, we accept it. We start changing our behavior based on that. It's like, you know, you don't want to sound aggressive in the workplace, so you proper, you know, all prim and proper, you know, you lower your tone, you speak very clearly. And even when you're being provoked, you don't raise your voice, even though everything inside of you is wanting to explode. So I feel like that in itself makes it so difficult, because you can see the differences every day. You can see that you're working twice as hard. You can see that, you know, you're not valued as much. And that is scary, because when you're fed that all the time, like, it's being reinforced all the time, you sadly start to believe that. And that is where it starts breaking us down as a people. And we can't allow that we can't believe that we're of less value, you know, just because of the color of our skin. Like, we can't believe that, you know, we're not worth what we're worth, because when we start believing that, then we're never going to win. So it's difficult to accept that is the reality, but we can still, you know, by various things that we've already discussed tonight, we can still make a change. You know, like, we've experienced the positives of people like Martin Luther King. You know, we've experienced some of the positives. It's not all gone, but we've experienced some of the positives that people like him have made in the world. And so we can also influence positive change for the future as well.
Dr. Deborah Official says, being assumed to be the student, healthcare worker, or another member of staff by the patient when you approach them, anything but the doctor. Hashtag struggles of a black female doctor. Viv May Official says, I once got told I have a raceless voice. I don't even know what that means.
Gosh.
You have a what? You have a what?
A raceless.
A raceless voice.
A raceless voice. What does that even mean? That was probably supposed to be a compliment. It was not. Yeah. And then Dr. Deb says, working twice as hard to level the playing field. See, I was having a conversation about that. So one of our Acumen founders, actually, I had a conversation with him, maybe even this morning. And he said one of the solutions to this is to do everything with excellence. And, you know, I mentioned to him, but you're still playing into the narrative, because why should you... Now, I'm not advocating that you shouldn't be excellent, don't get me wrong, but what I am saying is that why should you have to work twice as hard as the next person to be seen equal, you know, as an equal? Why should you have to work twice as hard to get the promotion that that somebody else would get? Why should you have to lower your voice or not be so aggressive or not be yourself because you'll be perceived in a certain way? All of these things play, for me personally, it's just my opinion, and it's just an opinion, play into this narrative, you know? And so it doesn't, even if we are being excellent and we continue to be excellent, we're having to still work twice as hard. So we're not really it's not. For me, it doesn't feel like it's
we're not winning
in the game.
We're not winning. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. I fully agree with you. I believe, this is my opinion as well, that we should all go to Africa and build Africa as a continent, and remind the world the value that we bring to the table. Well, not necessarily remind the world. I don't really care about that, but I believe that we need to go back to, the motherlands, or whatever it is you can call it, and just build that and deal with the problems there, which won't be anywhere near the problems we're dealing with outside of our motherland. I mean, there's problems everywhere, I understand. But I genuinely believe that if we're trying to fight this race thing, we need to go back to a place where we're all the same color. Again, there's going to be new problems because, life is like that and there's problems everywhere. But the race thing, being killed or being persecuted in broad daylight in front of people, I don't see that happening in Ghana. And, I've been going back for years, and there's definitely space for anyone who's listening, who's looking for land. I can connect you to people and we can make you all princes and kings, and you can go back to Africa.
And be a land seller now.
More. If it means I'm saving our people, bro. Because what it is that someone said to me the other day, how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? It's a strange land. We are in a strange land, but what's not strange is where our families and where our parents come from. So with the knowledge that we've gained in these so-called quote unquote top universities, we go back to Africa, we become somebody, we affect change in our community, and all we can do is build up our community there. Once that community is built, we never have to travel over to the West for education again, because now we're bringing the education, which is the world standard, to our communities back home, and we're rebuilding that. And then in that case, they come to the table, because then we need them. I don't know. I'm very frustrated, guys. So apologies if I'm coming from a weird place, but I genuinely just believe that if people are not gonna see our equals, man, we need to stop wasting our time and go back with all the skills that we bring to the table, all our knowledge, all our talent, and take it away, and let's see how long they'll survive for. And that's my view. Sorry, guys.
That's right. Then, like I said, there isn't one silver bullet, and it will take different things in order to affect this change. This conversation, Andy, I've been thinking about it a lot. What you're saying about going back to our homeland. I've really been thinking about it a lot, and I don't want to get shot because it's still a very raw moment right now, but we have our own problems.
Yeah, facts.
We have our own problems, and I don't want to touch that now because it's not the right time, but we do. And I feel like there's a level of healing and fixing that we need to do within ourselves before we can even progress further. Because even within our own, I don't know. Anyway, don't shoot me, guys.
But no, go there, bro.
These are just my thoughts. But even within our own communities, we are we really united? We can be real with ourselves. Just put aside for a minute what's happening. Are we really united? Are we really united? We want to step forward and we want others to take us seriously, yet we can't come together and help ourselves in a sense, And I might be wrong. But this is just what I think. And so going back, yes, I think there's value in it, but home has problems too. Different problems, but home has problems too.
Yeah, but the problems ain't gonna kill you, is what I'm saying. The problems ain't killing us. The problems ain't stopping us in our car and at gunpoint, where's your papers, show you, and then, you know, I still shoot you anyway, you know. Again, as I said, there's problems everywhere. Life can't be perfect. Unfortunately, it cannot be perfect, and there's going to be problems everywhere you go. But right now, we're fighting for survival, or our counterparts in the US are genuinely fighting for survival. A child leaves their house, and you have to remind that child to do all the right things so they can stay alive, so they can come back home. I don't think that's a life that you know anyone should be living. You know, but the problems in Africa, bro, they're not ones that will kill you, man. They're ones that you can manage with and just and just manage.
I do see both your points. I see, Andy, I see your point in the sense that, to be honest, like, we're thinking, why are we in another person's land? If you think about it, like, why are we somewhere else? Like, we're not actually originally from here, so why are we in another person's land? And like, there's so many things to unpack there. Let's not, I don't want to go into like how it originally started, especially States, but that's one of the things. But I also see your point, Dami, in the sense that, are we really united? Like, you know, some comments from the comment section have spoken about supporting Black businesses. Is interesting how sometimes we don't necessarily help each other when we can. And if we're people that are divided, it's going to be easy to conquer us. And if other races smell that division, then they can work, you know, they can work easily to break us up. I feel like it's something that we are getting more aware of, and we are hopefully trying to work on. And rather than seeing, you know, each other as competition, we need to see each other as, okay, like, this person is doing well, but it does not mean I'm doing less because this person is doing well, or I'm not doing, there's something wrong with me. Because I feel like that mentality in the Black community is there, sadly. And obviously extremes like this have, like, you know, the situation in the States right now, it is getting us closer together. Like you mentioned earlier, even though we're in the UK, I do feel that we're still one, and the problems start when we start seeing ourselves as, you know, other. Well, you know, I'm not in the States, like, so it doesn't really affect me. And that's a selfish place to, you know, have your stance, because it might not necessarily affect you to the same extent. However, it's still affecting you. Like, all these problems come down to the same mentality, that we're not seen as valuable or as of value as other people because of the skin color. And yeah, I do feel that, especially you see examples in the Asian community, like, you know, I'm not saying that we should necessarily do everything they're doing, but like, they all live in the same houses, like, they all share, you know, their assets or commodities, they share the knowledge, they share the information. And it's something that we do need to address within ourselves as a community. And it's also something that we need to address with friends and other people that we encounter on a daily basis, in the sense that we have to address the issues of race as well with them. It's not an easy thing to do, but there are just so many levels, like, you know, like I said earlier, it seems overwhelming when you start breaking apart all the, you know, different caveats and nuances with regards to this. Like, it's so much, there's so much to break apart. But even us doing this, I feel like this is making a change. Like, it might not seem that impactful at the moment, but we do have to have these discussions. We do have to be open about what we're going through, and we do have to have an atmosphere where we can discuss issues within ourselves and with other people. So even doing this live in itself is part of the solution. We might not necessarily see the immediate effects now, but it all starts, if everyone is doing small things, imagine, you know, what the cumulative effect of that would be.
Like ripples, isn't it? Ripples.
Yeah.
So I've been such a bad Instagram host. Let me just read some comments. So Yoki says, our strong work ethic stems from our ancestors' struggles, and whilst it's part of the narrative, it's also our strength and how we will overcome. Dr. Deborah Official says, problem is eradicating the slavery mentality, which a lot of us unknowingly project. The first step is acknowledging it as an issue that needs addressing. Then we need to stop tearing ourselves down. Some more comments. Andy speaking facts. There are a lot of problems in Africa that we can change with the knowledge we've gained from the West. And
who's saying Andy speaking facts? Someone wants to be my friend, bro.
Oh, sorry, that's Miss Lexia. Miss Lexia.
Shout out to you, Miss Lexia. Yeah.
So YVIV, she says, but the problems at home stifles growth and progression. And then there's, but they came to our land and stole everything. Why shouldn't we?
Why shouldn't?
Yeah. But yeah, so listen, we've got less than 2 minutes left on the live.
What?
Just the last passing words in order to wrap this up. Andy, you go first.
Bro, 2 minutes.
30 seconds you got.
I think we need to continue talking, and we need to be open for the change that is about to come. And we shouldn't be prescriptive and imagine a change to look a certain way. But however it comes, we should be arms wide open to welcome the change. And yeah, even though I don't believe we all should be together, we should be together. It's deep, but I could explain another post or something. Because yeah, I'm Igbo, you're Ewe, you're this, you're Hausa, but we still live together. There's an understanding. So we don't have to be the same, but we can all be the same up here. Are you with me?
Yeah.
That's my closing.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of hearts, Andy. You're getting a lot of hearts.
Cool, man. Is that from the same person again? I paid it, bro. I paid it.
Doc, you got 20 seconds to wrap up.
I would say we need to keep the hope alive that the small things that we're doing, can affect change. Like, the way I think about it is we're planting seeds, and the seeds will grow into a harvest. So that would release more seeds. So all the little things we're doing, they will affect change over time. It's going to take time. It's going to take cultivating. It's going to take pruning. It's going to take growing. However, it's not impossible. So let's start with the seeds, and we will see the harvest come through.
Sheesh. Fire. So the live has ended, guys. So I'm just going to rest my hand for a minute.
Ooh, well
were you holding it?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Oh man, you tried. Don't you have a stand?
It's all right. It's good. My hands are cool. So yeah. So I guess let me just wrap up so that when I cut this, it'll make sense. So yeah, I think for me, in terms of wrapping up, there is no silver bullet. I think, but we can't take away from the actions that everyone's doing. So I think, yes, we continue to look for awareness. We continue to bring exposure to, I guess, our plight. And I think something you said earlier, Andy, which when you were talking to your colleague, it's because it's not a lived experience, you don't know. So now that we're bringing it to the forefront, it's now, oh, really, this is happening. Do you know what I mean? So I guess the more we do that, the more we talk about it, the more we educate people about it, it will help. But I think personally, and I know I only gave you guys 30 seconds, so I'm sorry, but I think personally, what we have to do is all economics based. We've got to lift ourselves out of wherever we are economically and elevate to a level where it's not, they're not looking at, they're looking at us, and they can see that we're at their level, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining it properly, but
yeah, bro.
I get it.
Why didn't you put this on the live, Dami?
It's a roundup.
Because come on, you can't
Yeah.
introduce economic like empowerment and just like say, "So thanks for coming. Good night."
We'll have to do part two.
Because we can actually do it. We can do a whole other live, because
we'll
because
set it up properly as well, because I think but honestly, I think it's down to economic. I saw a YouTube, I don't know, so many videos are flying now, I don't even know YouTube and whatever, and this individual, he was like, it's all about economics, if you don't have, if if all we're doing is just like doing all these menial jobs. I'm not saying every black person is doing menial jobs, don't get me wrong, but if we don't have that wealth, that legacy to be at the table, or to be able to actually make a difference, we're never going to be seen as equal. That's I personally, I don't think it matters what we do until we're at that economic playing field where we can have a say because of our economic standing.
I do get that.
My personal opinion.
I do actually. When you say that, I always think I always refer things back to like movies or music, and I think Black Panther, and we need to be a Wakanda people. Like they were so rich, like they didn't need other people to survive.
But the only reason is because like Chitkata, whatever the name is, T'Challa, like these guys are traveling out of Wakanda and bringing the knowledge back home.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like, let me give you some hints. So
but they were more advanced, bro.
Yeah. No. Sorry. When I say that, I'm saying that So for example, the guy who had his arm, the guy who was in the Marvel, what was it? The guy with the arm who had the soldier, Captain America. Bully or whatever his name was. He had already been to Wakanda. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, they were already advanced, and I think historically, all the knowledge and all the history tells us that Africa was above and beyond what the world was on. Alexander the Great came over, conquered with all the other, waste men in history, went and took what they needed, and they took it away. And those that knew the information were killed or imprisoned just so that knowledge wouldn't live on. And it's very clear that knowledge didn't live on. So what I'm saying right now is, if we now have the ability to travel over to the thieves, or the land of the thieves, or the land of the looters, like UK, like America, like all these international countries or Western countries who have the top universities, who have the so-called information and the technology to bring to life the information that they teach, why not go there and let's begin to feed into our intelligence? Let's begin to feed back into our information pot, and let's begin to slowly take the information and dump it back to what Wakanda used to be. Are you with me? Because right now it's not. Right now the knowledge is not there, and if it's there, for example, the first oil refinery in Nigeria was only built about 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
This is what I'm talking about, though. It's so the systematic, what's the word? Are you going to tell me that no one has had the knowledge to build this oil refinery all this time? We are taking oil, we are exporting it, and then importing it back into our own country.
Yeah. So what I was going to say about Gaddafi, right? Of all the madness that he did in Libya to his people, the year that he was assassinated or killed or whatever, he gave $1 million to each student that had come back from the West to rebuild Libya.
Mm.
His plan for his nation, and while he was alive, petrol, oil, whatever, gas, was cheap for all the Africans. He gave the African countries different price to what he was given to the West. So already, he had already ticked off the West, which meant that they didn't really like him, because he's got all this kind of rich quality oil, and he's not willing to play game like, excuse me to say, like Nigeria, like Ghana with their little 2 barrels, like all these other countries that were not interested, or sorry, that would play the game. He was not interested in doing it. For his people was that they had to travel to go and get the knowledge, but they had to promise to come back to rebuild their nation. And there was an understanding that you can't leave, get the information and stay there. You're only going to help them build what they already have. And you're not going to be special. It's like Ronaldo right now. Sorry, not Ronaldo. It's like Raheem Sterling is a great football player. Yeah. If he leaves Man City and he goes to join Barcelona, within a matter of a year or 2, he will be a nobody. The reason why I say that is because you can't be a or you can't be a top player in an average team, go to the biggest team in the world and expect to still have exposure. Are you understand what I'm saying? So all the knowledge that as Africans we bring to the UK, or that we gain from the UK, we still, unfortunately, quote unquote, excuse me to say, we're still going to be nobodies. And no matter how much we up our levels to this economic empowerment, your money may be the same color as their money, but your skin color will still come into it. Because I know millionaires, bro, and you know millionaires. And when they tell me their stories, like, they've had to create their own little circles with their own little black community who have money, and they have millionaires, or they have money, and they kind of enjoy in that way. Whereas if we are elsewhere and we are showing everybody else that we don't need them, there is an understanding that I want to be needed. So how can I be involved in what you have? So as long as we are in the strange land, we cannot sing the Lord's song. So I do have faith that, things will change, but that's only because I believe in God. But in actual reality, nah, because we're a powerful people. We're a powerful people. Do you know what? Like, let me unpack that for a moment. What we're trying to say is the world are afraid of us, even though they believe we have nothing.
Because they know.
Yeah. So they
know what's within us.
So even though we have nothing, again, just speaking just out of whatever, even though we have nothing, and we don't have the rights to whatever, to be at the table, whatever, yet they are still afraid. So you're trying to tell me that in fear of nothing, put something in my hand? Like, how on earth is that going to happen? It's impossible. It's impossible. But God can make a way where there's no way. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
God can make a way.
Man.
Bro, I'm running to Ghana, bro. Ghana right now is quite peaceful, bro. So
yeah, there's people been saying that.
Oh God, join me. Doc, let's go, man. You could be the London doctor. You can be the London doctor. And all the you know the problem in Africa. The problem in Africa is an economic.
Yeah.
It's a status, financial, economic one. So the people in power, no matter how corrupt they are, as long as you are economically free or economically sound, you've got to respect. Does that make sense? So yeah, bro, let's go back to Africa, man. Like, if as I said in my post, if we starve this community of everything that we invest in them, will they miss us? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, they will.
So why are we not starving them? And I'm not saying stay at home and protest in your house. I'm saying let's go to Africa and build the hospitals. Let's go to Africa and build the schools. Let's go to Africa and put together those security companies those IT companies and train little Nigerians, little Ghanaians, you know, how to do it, and inspire them and make money because people need it. So they're going to buy into it. Facts. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Constantly kind of.
I hear you, bro. I hear you, bro. But reality is, as much as you can say, let's go back and do those things, people have come back to do those things, and they run back here. You know,
they
because
do.
They've been frustrated with the systems that are in place. Now, this is obviously not to say that we can't change things.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna say that, there's gonna have to be that level of understanding that we may just be the ones who are paving the way for the generations to come.
That's cool. That's cool. No matter where you are, you're gonna be involved in a fight.
Yeah.
We're in the UK. We're in the UK, and we're still fighting.
Yeah.
You can be in Africa, and you're still gonna be fighting. So, what's the difference between the wars that you're fighting?
True.
Like one gives you freedom and not liberty. The other gives you liberty. One gives you freedom, which is more powerful than liberty. Liberty is that I'm giving you the liberty to move, but I can take it away. Freedom is your right as a human being. In Africa, we are free. Everywhere else outside of Africa, we have liberty until I tell you.
That's deep.
Let me click my fingers. Wow.
I'm passionate, man, and I pray God will sustain me, because this is it. We're not supposed to be here, man. We're not. We were supposed to come and really and truly, our parents, if you actually speak to them, you know, they came to find a better life and go back home, but they didn't go back. They stayed. So they had the right idea, and at some point they became comfortable because, you know, it's an organized environment. It's, you know, it's civilized. It's, you know, you can really bring up children here, and and then they stuck into it. But the initial reason that they had when they came here, again, I'm talking about my family. The initial idea they had was to come, package, go, and establish.
Yeah.
They came packaged and enjoyed until they couldn't enjoy anymore. And they stayed. You know, so it's like, so really and truly, if we're talking about, carrying the baton and continuing the race, really and truly, we need to build and go, because that was the original plan.
Yeah.
You know, and we can't get caught in our comfortable lives and also wait for the next generation to make that move, you know.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the end of Acumen Livecast episode 5. Thanks, Doc, for joining us today on this very interesting dialogue. It's a heavy one, and I think maybe we do a part 2. So it seems from the gram that people really enjoyed it. You know, so we had some nice numbers there. So yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks, Andy. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Till next time. Ciao.
Bye.
Odaro.